All right, moving forward, Lubu. All right, moving forward. Some of our information on functions might appear like this. So Louis, notice up here, this is kind of in a word problem formula, okay, or format. Now, Louis, let's not talk about juice. Let's talk about, because you've drank the Wawa iced teas, right? The little pint ones, okay? Little pint ones. So here we go. When you drink a pint, right, you take a mouthful like this. And then
that's how you drink, yeah.
Yep, that's how you drink, right? What's happening to the fluid inside my coffee cup or inside your Wawa?
I guess you could say like, I don't know if it's really slow, but
no, it has nothing to do with that. What's just happening to the fluid?
It gets weighs less.
It's decreasing, right? It's decreasing, right? Okay. So as I drink, the fluid is going down. Make sense? Now, the next part is that we have to talk about is this. What happens? At a certain point, what happens?
It'll be empty.
It's going to be empty. What number would that be? 0. Are we in agreement? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Now up here, there's some things in this problem, Louis. Okay? And I can tell you a lot about this problem. But I don't want to tell you. I want you to kind of learn it, right? Because that's kind of the purpose, right? Is to interpret this stuff, right? Just like when you're playing a video game, you have to interpret what's going on in the scene. Do you go through the building? Do you go around the building? Do you throw a frag into the building? You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm saying, right? So you have to make it like a judgment call. So can you kind of interpret what's going on in this problem? Louis, can you interpret what's going on in this problem? Okay, it says the function y equals negative 3x plus 12 represents the amount y in fluid ounces of juice remaining in a bottle after you take x gulps. What can you tell me?
I don't know, man. I don't like math.
It's not math. It's just interpreting the information that's given to you.
I mean,
like obviously the numbers mean something.
I mean, 3 probably stands for.
No, just take a guess.
I have not slept.
It's okay. Just take a guess. What do you think the 3 represents?
The amount.
Amount of what?
Fluid.
Fluid.
Ounces.
That you are.
That you're drinking.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, told you, you know. So the negative 3 represents the amount of fluid you're drinking per what, Chucky? Per what? What is this called? Starts with an S. Sip, right? So, Louis, this is what I was trying to tell you. Each of these things represents something, right? So the function y equals negative 3x plus 12. The negative 3 represents how much fluid I'm drinking per sip. Make sense to you? Okay? You sure about that? Now, Louis, I'm a betting man. I know. Yeah, you do? Okay. Untouched. Right? Untouched. See? Straight from the bag. Louis, I will give you this whole pack. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
If you can tell me, nobody can help him or he loses. He'll be angry. If he can tell me how many ounces are in the juice.
Man, I'm gonna assume.
How many ounces? So think about it, right? So in my coffee, this is how many ounces, right? How many ounces are in my coffee? 24, right? Makes sense? I know that. So how many ounces are in
12.
How do you know?
The 12 is right there.
Very good. Here you go. I don't want to touch it. You can have that. Hold it.
There you go. Look at me being
Yeah.
so much smarter.
Oh, there are 12 ounces.
I can do it.
All right, hold on. There are 12 ounces in that juice bottle. How do I know? Well, Louis, ready? How do I know this? Well, you told me the -3 was how much I was taking per sip, and the 12 must be my starting point, right? So I can't get any more than what I start with. So if I'm starting with 12 ounces, then I have 12 ounces in my juicing, which is a canned juice. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, Louis, we know all of that from this information. This was per gulp. Ounces per gulp or sip. Louis, you writing this down?
I can't even get the package open.
Can't help you with that. Now, the 12 is how much is in the bottle to start. Now that I know this, I can move on through this problem. Now it says identify the independent and dependent variables. Well, independent variable is this. It's gulps. How do I know that? Well, one, it says X gulps, and we know that X is the domain, it is the input, it is the independent variable. So the independent variable is the gulps, meaning the dependent is the ounces left. Oh, do you see where I got this? Pretty good gum, right? I like this gum. Now, it says the domain is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. John, can you tell me why the domain is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? Why can't it be 5? Why couldn't it be 6? Why couldn't it be 7? What's that? No, there could be more than 5. Maddie, why can we only have the domain of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? There's not enough drink in the cup. How did we know to stop at 4 though? Okay, getting closer. Guys, come on, let's put away the phones. Let's focus. So 4 goes into both, right? But what happens when I plug in 4? Well, let's go back to what Louis said, right? At the beginning. Louis said, what? What did you say? Like, what happens if I keep drinking?
Oh, it's just going to go to 0.
It's going to go to 0, right? So how did I know to stop at 4? Well, I want to know when this is 0. Meaning -3 times what is 12? Like -4, right? You get what I'm saying? So that's where the 4 came from. John, do you see that now? Yeah. So I solved that. I put in 0 for y, and I solved it. And I get 4. Now, why is 0 up there? Well, what's the least amount of gulps I can take? 0. So the domain is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 because 0 is the fewest number of gulps I can take, and 4 is the most. I can't keep drinking my coffee once it's gone. It's gone. So what is the range? All right, let's look at it this way. If I take 0 gulps, Chucky, how much is in that can of juice or soda? It's 12 ounces. What if I take 1 gulp? 2 gulps? 3? 3, then 0. Does everybody see where you got that from? Annie, do you see where you got that from? Okay. You guys like guac? Chips and guac? Anybody likes chips and guac in here? You like chips and guac? Where's your favorite place for chips and guac? Chipotle? Mexican Post? Ooh, homemade. So you know all about this probably. Up here, the function a equals negative b plus 14 represents the number of A avocados you have left after making B batches of guacamole. All right. Sandy, what can you tell me about this? Anything. We have A equals negative 4B plus 14. Where A is avocados and B is batches. Well, how many avocados do I have? 14. Okay. So we're starting with 14 avocados. What else could you tell me? How many avocados do I need to make a batch of guac? 4. Make sense? Now, personally, if we're talking like fast food, okay, Chipotle puts out a good guac and chips. I think it's the lime in the chips that kind of does it for me. Would you agree? You ever had it? It's pretty good, right? When I'm going out though, when I'm done hiking like a mountain, I love to eat like just a big plate of nachos.
From Chipotle?
No, like Mackenzie's. Okay, they make a good plate of nachos. They got like 3 different chips, guac, sour cream, salsa. It's delicious. So, this is making me hungry. So here we go. Identify the independent and dependent variables. Nate, what matters? Does the number of avocados I have or the number of batches I have?
Number of avocados is going to matter, but I think the batches matter.
Very good. So, the independent variable is batches, meaning the dependent avocados left is my dependent. Make sense? Because if I make 1 batch of avocado, it's going to affect how many avocados I have left. Now, the domain is 0, 1, 2, 3. Tyler, why is my domain 0, 1, 2, 3? Why isn't it 4? What's that? Okay. Well, let's think about it. How many, if I have 14 avocados, how many batches of guac can I make? If each one takes 4, right? 3. How did you get 3? Because you did what? Like 14 divided by 4, right? So if we do 14 divided by 4, that's going to give us a number around 3. Right? And there's going to be a decimal because they don't go into each other. So we can't kind of make a part. Think of a restaurant. You can't make like half a batch of avocado. Like if Chucky goes to Don Pablo's, okay, and he's like, "Yo, give me chips and guac." They come out with half. You're gonna be angry, right? So you gotta have a full amount. So that's why it's only 3. And the smallest number of batches I can make is 0. So my range here, okay, how many avocados do I start with, Maddie? How many do I start with? 14. And if I make 1 batch, how many is left? So take 4 away. 10. It's okay, I know we're all tired. 10, right? Then what, Chucky? Followed by, and I have to stop there because I can't make that half a batch. Oh, I have a story for you guys too. So after we're done this, remind me to tell you the story. Mike.
Oh.
Mike, you're like a cook, right? I heard you're like a savant or like a natural like cook. Is that correct? So Mike, up here it says the function t equals 19m plus 65 represents the temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit of an oven after preheating for m minutes. Mike, what does preheating mean?
So before you put the food in, you have to like put it at like 400 degrees or something like that.
Yeah. So Mike said you have to preheat the oven. You can't just put your food in and have it cook. You have to make sure the oven's at the right temperature. So Mike, what is this equation telling me?
You need to wait 19 minutes for it to be done preheating, and then let me see.
All right. So Mike, let me pause you for a second. What are we measuring? Are we measuring temperature or minutes?
Both.
A little bit of both. You are correct. But what does that T stand for?
Degrees in Fahrenheit.
Degrees. So the 19 is going to be talking about degrees, okay?
Yeah.
So that means the 19 is representing the degrees the oven increases per minute. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Now, what does a 65 stand for?
I believe.
You want a hint?
Yep.
So the 65 stands for the temperature the oven is at, like at room temperature. So that means like you keep your house at 65. So I guess this person's cooking like in the winter, which makes sense because it's wintertime. So, Mike, what is the independent and dependent variable? Is minutes independent or dependent?
It's independent.
Independent, very good. Which makes the dependent temperature. Louis, I literally gave you a pack of gum and you're gonna sit there and text? I hooked you up, bro. I gave you a pack of gum after lunch. It's like worth its weight in gold, bro. I saw what you were having for lunch on your way out.
Oh no, that's not what that.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, so this says a recipe calls for an oven temperature of 350 degrees. Describe the domain and range of the function. Now, Jules, for this problem, I need to know how long it's going to take me to get my oven up to temperature. Right? Maybe you have guests coming over. You have to cook your food before your guests come over. So how do I determine this? Okay, well, the domain and range, let's look at this. So your domain is, all right, minutes greater than or equal to 0. All right, now why is it greater than or equal to 0? Because you can't go back in time. So my number of minutes for the preheating has to be greater than 0. All right, see how I'm eating the up? Now my range, looks a little different. So the temperature needs to be greater than or equal to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. How do I know that? Well, my oven can't be colder than my house. It's not the way it works. Okay? So those are my domains and range. It says a recipe calls for an oven temperature of 350 degrees. Well, how do I find that? Well, I'm going to take the 350 and I'm going to plug it in. Where are your notes? Got your notes? Tyler, are you okay? Sure? Okay. So, how do I go about solving this two-step equation? Let's pick on, who's at home? Who's at home? Grace, what would your first step be?
My first step would be to
How would we get rid of that plus 65?
put a negative in front of it.
Yeah, we're going to subtract it. So 350 minus 65, that's going to be 285. Now what, Lubu? Divide by 19. Very good, Lubu. And we get the number of minutes is equal to, come on, you got your phone, type it in. 285 divided by 19.
285 divided by 19.
What is it? 15?
9.7.
Is it? You sure?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is. 285.
Oh, 285. I don't know why. 285 divided by 19. Oh, 15. Wait, what?
15? Oh, it's 15?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's 15 minutes, which is nice to know because before my friends or company comes over, I could put on my oven 15 minutes in advance and get it cooking so that the food can go in and then cook. All right, so they're not waiting around. All right,